I've had a lot of people ask me about the Swisstech Multitool that you can find at Walmart. Now you can walk into a store and purchase this right out, but it's around $50. There are a few things about it that I think are quite good, and then there are some not so great things. So let me just give you the full overview and help you make a decision if you want to buy this or something else that might be available. All right, let's start with the Sheath, because in my opinion, this is the best thing about the tool. A lot of people have reviewed this and immediately discarded it, but once I actually looked a little closer, it turns out this might be one of the best sheaths I've ever seen, included with a budget multi-tool, genuinely. And that's because it's going to expand depending on the size of the multi-tool, and it can be carried both vertically and horizontally because it actually has a pass-through right here. That is absolutely fantastic. It does look pretty good. I'm sure it's not the highest quality leather. It's probably chrome tanned leather of relatively low quality, but it's still going to be better than most of what I've seen on the market. What I found interesting is when I looked for something similar, whether it was from Etsy, Amazon, or elsewhere, the only sheath I saw, I had to go to Europe to find it, and it's being sold by Tools for Gents. Which honestly, it's a great sheath and I might very well pick one up. But that's surprising that this exact design, which is it seems like all the combinations I've seen before, but I've never seen all of it together, should exist, right? And be easily available on Amazon or somewhere, but it's not. So this is a huge opportunity for someone to start making some really nice universal multi-tool sheaths that are very compact and horizontal in nature. The clasp here is actually pretty secure, which I think is absolutely essential, especially if you're going horizontal. And yeah, so I want to start with saying that that sheath is absolutely awesome. I love it. Okay, now the tool itself. One of the big claims on the box is that it has an 8CR, or AUS-8 I should say, blade. AUS-8 and 8CR13 MOV are basically synonymous with each other. They're very similar in chemistry. They're just made in different places. Okay, just different name, basically the same steel. Now this is a great baseline budget steel. In fact, a lot of folding knives made by some of the other companies like Gerber are actually lower quality than this. So that's a really important note for sure. Other than that, everything else about this tool brings it down substantially. And I will save you a lot of time. We're only a little over 2 minutes in. And I'm just going to say this is not the tool you want to be buying. If you're going to buy a clone, there are much, much better options out there. I know, I'm spoiling things a little bit, but I just didn't want to waste anyone's time. If you want to know, this is not the one to buy. Okay, moving on. We have the serrated blade, which both the serrated and the straight blade were very difficult to deploy one-handed. These are tightened up too much, and although I can adjust them, it is of note, not everyone's going to do that. It comes with this really interesting textured finish. You would think it looks grippier on camera than it actually is. It's actually quite smooth, surprisingly. I thought it would be more like something you would feel on a skateboard, right? But it's not. It doesn't have that same kind of grip. Maybe that's a good thing, but it's just, to describe it, it's not particularly grippy. It is, however, going to protect the steel from rusting, at least to some extent. Now you also have a saw on the outside here, which is pretty standard. It's going to be that classic Leatherman Wave saw. This one is a pull cut variety with relatively small teeth, not super big. So nothing special there. It is tapered correctly, meaning that it's thicker at the teeth than it is at the back, meaning it won't get bound up, so that's fine. And then the file. Okay, so this is a straight cut file, cross cut file, and has a cutting edge as well for soft steel, copper, plastic, that kind of thing. I don't get it. This company literally makes an older model that has a diamond file that is basically interchangeable with this. And the people who OEM for Swisstech, they're all making the same tools out there, whether it's Multiforce, WorkPro, Byberry, whatever. They're all making the same tools, right? There's no reason not to go with a diamond file. A diamond file can be used to sharpen a knife. A diamond file can be used to repair a drill bit. It can be used to sharpen big dings out of a lawnmower blade. You name it. The uses for a diamond file are expansive. Much more useful than a crosscut file, which I'll be honest with you, I have never chosen to use ever over a crosscut because a straight cut file will literally walk on you when you try to file it. It can move off to one side or the other. Especially with only using a small file, it's even more of a problem than it would be with a standard straight cut file. There is a purpose for those, but not in this size or context. And so I really am not liking this file. So that's the first thing. Should have been a diamond file. That was an absolutely no-brainer. Now the plier head. The plier head is really standard. We have a small little needle nose section, a place for grabbing nuts. We have soft wire and hard wire cutters. Pretty normal, pretty standard from what we will see from pretty much any of the clones out there. That's going to be pretty much the same. I don't think it's better or worse. Oh, you know, I say that, but you know, it might even be a little bit thinner than the Multiforce, which would make it weaker for sure. So either way, it's definitely on the side of not as good as most of the clones. Let me say that. All right, and the other problem, the bigger problem, is that the tension is so light on the detent for the plier head. I mean, I'm really barely touching it and it's just collapsing on me. So that's not good. That's actually really not good. And I've seen a lot better within the clones. So on the internal tool set, we have scissors, we have a small flathead. You know, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take these out of the way because I think it'll be easier to see. So we have the scissors, we have the can opener, bottle opener with a wire stripper, we have a pull cutter with a small flathead, and on the other side, we have three implements. We have a small Phillips, which is tucked in behind here, which is a number 0, a number 3, and a large flathead. So that is the internal tool set you have right there. Now the scissors, it's important to note, you notice the shape of these scissors. When I do a comparison to the Swisstech you can buy on AliExpress, you'll see how they've improved these scissors over time. This is the older style, which is also found in the Multiforce. Because the Multiforce has actually been around for a number of years now. The small flat, kind of useless when you're putting it with this shape. You can't actually put it into a recessed hole, so you kind of limit its usefulness. And then on this particular model, like this is mine, I found that the cutout for the can opener, bot opener is very difficult to access. I had to pull out most of the other tools in order to get to it versus using the nail nick because it's just rounded so much. So not great on the quality control. Phillips, perfectly fine. These actually work pretty well, I found. But I don't have many instances where I need a number 3. That's my personal experience, but maybe this is an advantage for you. But before you go and jump on this, let me show you there is a better option out there. Okay. Tool set, not impressed. Weight, size, also not impressed. Somehow this thing manages to be more bulky than the Multiforce, which is also sold at Walmart. Not so great. On top of that, the Multiforce has the added advantage of having the long implements on the opposite side, which means no hand pinch, something that you're absolutely going to experience with the Wave, Surge, these kinds of things. Anything that's cloning the Leatherman Wave or Leatherman Surge or Charge, they're basically all going to have that similar problem for the most part. Because, let me just show you, where the tools come together right here, if you slip off of a nut, you can actually slide yourself right in there. Now, it's interesting enough, I think because of where things are positioned and because of how wide this metal is, it might not be as much of an issue, but it's something of note. This doesn't have that problem. It's cheaper. It comes with a pocket clip. It comes with a sheath that has an actual clip on it, which I like. It comes with an extender on top of it. Yeah, it's great. And it's got that diamond file. Basically the same tool set, otherwise, oh wait, except that it has a strictly better replaceable, ball detent bit, which with a 6mm by 1mm magnet can be converted to standard 1/4 inch. Right. So that's absolutely trouncing it. And that can be found at Walmart directly. Swisstech, the same company that's selling this black tool, sells basically what is the Multiforce on AliExpress. And this is like 30 bucks. And has basically the same thing and even a slightly improved scissor on it. So the newer versions have this, which is a little bit better. It's a little bit more stout, and it also more precise at the tip because of that shape. So I much prefer this scissor to the ones that are from the past, that are based on the Wave. So nice job there. That would be a good option. And then the best one probably, and most comparable in some ways, is the Work Pro, which you can find on Amazon for only $20. This has the same orientation as the Multiforce, the Swisstech, with the tools on the opposite side, so you don't have to deal with things. And it comes with spring-loaded pliers, which I absolutely love. Really nice. Very, very strong spring as well. So really nice and strong. The only downside with any of these tools that have the opposite long implements is this little tab here that locks into the plier. If you attempt to put large amounts of force behind it by either leaning on it or otherwise, there is always a small chance that you can snap off this piece of metal. So it's more for a slightly lighter use. I wouldn't go too extreme with it, but if you know that downside, then I think you'll be in great shape, because any normal use with just your hands, you're not going to be able to break it. At least I can't. If you're super strong, maybe you can, but it's going to hold up pretty well, and they have a pretty good track record. This has the diamond file, of course, and it has the Phillips that is the number 2 and number 0 instead of the bit driver. But the fact that it's only 20 bucks, well, I mean, no brainer here, right? It comes in 3 colors. This one's blue, they have green, and they also have like a new matte red color, which is pretty awesome. I'm gonna kind of call it here. This tool is definitely going to go in the bucket of shame, unfortunately, for Swisstech, but I think the Sheath absolutely survives. So let me just throw this over here in our bucket of shame. As always, thank you guys for your time, and we'll talk again soon.